Hi, everyone. This is why you have to be patient during your identity expansion. You see, everything takes time. Some things move faster, other things move slower. And I'm going to show you why you must be patient as you try to manifest a newer version of yourself or some kind of outcome. So, once again, this is your identity, right? And this is your previous identity, right? And now you have expanded so that your new identity is your default identity, right? And of course, you are constantly learning. So this is your next identity. The boundaries are forming, right? All the while, the stuff that you're made of is not porous, it's not weak. You're actually having real density happening inside. You're not made of fluff. This isn't fluff upgrades. These are very much real upgrades, right? Real upgrades, real updates to our identity. And so all of this takes time, right? Changing a habit, takes at least 30 days. 30 days. And after those 30 days, a new reality sits in, right? And that's new setting is tested. That new identity is tested and and for however long time tells, right? Time will tell, right? And it will show whether this is your default state or whether you're just kidding, whether you're serious about the kind of person you are trying to become, right? Um, so the reason why I say that is even when you become this person, right, you begin to exert a force on the reality around you, and you sometimes the reality is really sharp and will immediately tell you no because the answer is obvious, right? For example, I want 20 dollars and the market said nope, giving you $13. Or I want $200, but the market said nope, I'm giving you $80, right? So these are forces, right? And they take time. They take time to um, to produce a response, right? So you've heard for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, you want something, there's going to be pushback and there's going to be information. There's lessons to be learned from every interaction, every, ooh, from every interaction. Mark my word, there's always something. There's never anything useless, right? Even things that we seem to think are useless, there's information about their uselessness that we can learn from, and that's why we can easily filter things out and say, is this a good use of my time? So so this takes time. It takes time for the market to respond if the answer is not obvious. I want to make $200, $300 an hour. What degree do you have? Associate's degree. Okay. um what are you trying to do? I want to operate on someone. Market says, you don't have the credentials. Boom. Easy answer. Reality just filters, just gives you a quick feedback, quick response. Another way is associate's degree, bachelor's degree. I want to make $300. Market says, what do you want to do? I am building a proof of concept for in my startup that answers so and so. Say more. Reality starts to respond. The response time increases as as reality takes time to to figure out, oh, okay, maybe this person is more. Okay, it'll now ask, why do you think you should be here? Why do you think you're worth 300 an hour or whatever, or 500,000 a month, or doing this, depending on how the payment structure is, right? Why are you worth that? Why aren't you worth 20 to $100 just like everyone else? What makes you think you should be doing 500, 1,000? There are people on earth who earn this, by the way. This is insane, per hour. Why is this you, and why don't you belong in this category? And there's nothing wrong with this category, right? I mean, this is life. This is this is reality. I'm just saying that there are different dimensions to who you can be. Simple. So I'm not trying to, maybe even by going too deep into it, I'm making it seem that way. Um, but um, but yeah, no, there are different identities, and the market's going to test the integrity of every action, right? And so you say, well, this is who I am. This is my quality. A venture capitalist says, oh, but I don't think you have the ability to stand in the face of changing requirements. I don't think you can handle leading this startup that you have through the necessary transformations that will be required to produce a company. I think you're being naive, right? And so the market will quickly put whatever identity you have in its place. And sometimes that happens rapidly. The better outcome, what we want is that we begin to morph reality. And since we are sustaining our new identity in our default, we begin to bend the fabric of reality. And this will not happen right away. This might take a moment. Sometimes it will happen right away, right? But sometimes some things need to be kind of shifted a bit so that we can begin to accept new things. The curvature has to happen because we're moving right through time. The curvature of all of these things that we want to manifest into our plane of existence needs to form before these things happen. And sometimes opportunities fly by, right? Sometimes opportunities pass by. The thing we want happens at a time when we're not ready, because either we're still shaping our identity, or um, or the reality hasn't bent enough because it takes time, right? And that's why we have to be patient. And sometimes some people say, "I was born too early," or, oh, if only we met at this time, things would have been different, or if these circumstances were aligned. No regrets. Be yourself and let the necessary field. This is this is this curvature in the fabric of reality is much faster to do than this curvature, right? So things take time. This would explain why someone, and I'll go again to somebody like Elon Musk or Jensen. Elon Musk is as of 2026, is the richest man on earth, right? This is how he can start for years building all of these things, right? And in a capitalist society, the markets haven't reacted to him, even though all of these moments in his life, all of these experience is rapidly raising his identity, right? By the time, right, so like all of this, by the time reality catches up, the speed is insane, right? It's a very slow morphing of reality, right? And this is where his valuation is right now. And um, one could almost say there's a slowing down, but I'm not going to judge because it's very hard to tell where somebody is at a very particular point. But this guy is operating at a level and a level of identity that the market has deemed he should be worth this much, and this is the output, right? That he should be. This is the amount of force he's having in reality, and you can tell that he's truly having this kind of force because his net worth has skyrocketed. His companies are super valuable, right? And this is so simple, but I find it funny. Imagine if Elon Musk got hooked on heroin, right? Or became an alcoholic, right? Right? Imagine if all of that happened, right? Um, or his or something just starts impacting his IQ significantly. He just has a do you not see that all of these will quickly impact his identity, and in no time the market will begin to respond to him directly, but also as a consequence, the things that are in his orbit, namely SpaceX, right? So the market and the board of these organizations, or whoever the board is for SpaceX X, all of that, right? Will now start worrying and saying, you know what, we need to move these things in his orbit to somebody is who is pretty stable in their current identity default, and we can be trusting and confident, right? And so nowhere do you see the effects of rapid changing identity than in the stock market, in the marketplace, right? Especially in the public eyes, where you can actually see things and it's very transparent. And sometimes things go up and down because there's a fluctuation of identity, right? It's not easy to sustain and create a default when you're moving at a pace that pushes more on faith than on fear, right? So these are things that we need to understand and live. It takes time. It takes time. So don't be impatient. Don't be discouraged. Take your time. Go through the lessons you need to learn. Right. Move through your identity. Continue to shape it, even if you don't see any tangible reality. Right. People stop here, right? We do this all the time. Even I've done this. I've started projects, and I'm doing a bunch of things, right? And I'm getting value out of it. The question is it? Are you getting value, right? Determining when to switch is difficult, but I say that if there's nothing else to do, if there's no immediate like glaring, this is the thing I should be doing, not for the sake of doing it, but you have a deep why and a deep vision, right? The way, people always say, how do you know when to change a project, how to shift a whole, let's just pause on that thought and quickly switch. People always say, how do you shift an idea when you know that when you feel like you've wasted time and you think you'll be better off doing? I would say compare the whys. If the why of what you want to start now is greater than the why of what you are currently doing, then pursue the one that has the greater why. Why? Why am I saying that? Because the visions are different. The impact on your identity is different. But if you're just chasing shiny objects, you're not giving your identity a chance to transform. You're just um, um, you're just trying to look smart. You're just creating fluff identity. But when everything settles down, right, you immediately go back to your default, right? You're creating virtual pretend identities. Settle down and let's find a vision that is truly you believe will shape the world for the better, will help people, right? Technology or services that will improve the lives of people based on their problems, right? And you become a problem solver, right? And as time goes on, you by the end of one iteration, you might have a better vantage point because of your identity to be able to see different new problems to tackle, right? To whom much is given, much is expected, right? I don't think that's the saying I'm looking for, right? If you're faithful in little, you'll be given even more, right? If you can handle small problems where you are with your current identity, there will be a multiplicity of problems to solve, but your identity would have grown. So I hope that's been helpful, and a good illustration of why you must be patient. You I'm not just saying you, I have to be patient, right? There is a compounding that happens, and there's a point in your life, right, where and a lot of people are just so impatient that they take shortcuts. But there's a point in your life um, where the market will respond, where your environment will respond to all of this work you've been doing to improve yourself. So thank you for watching this video. I'm creating a bunch of videos these days and trying to get all of my ideas out there, just like put them down on paper, get them out of my head and onto this board, right? And some of them are already, some of them are newer than I expected. They're coming faster than I expected. I just created a very simple idea and I didn't know that it would create all of these discussions, but it's also been very applicable lately, helping me see my identity expansion through time, right? And all of these seeds that were planted last year intentionally and how they have led to now. And of course, thinking about how it will, how the trajectory will change, um, uh, forecasted against the future. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I pray that you like and comment and that you engage with this video. All of it is welcome, of course. But even your viewership is helping the algorithm take this video to the right people who may want to engage with this kind of content. So I appreciate you. I know I said thank you a lot, but I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.